Oh my God. Oh my God. So I am downstairs. I got sleeping kids upstairs. I'm on vacation. But you know what? When I see this is a story I'm doing immediately. And I'm going to do this story immediately and then I'm going to sign off. But like the title and the thumbnail said, Deontay Wilder and Francis Ngannou have verbally agreed to fight. They are working on the contract and they are targeting Africa. They're targeting on Africa. And I'll tell you a multitude of reasons why that is the most gangster move of all time. That would be, dude, you want to talk about a storybook ending to one of the most epic stories in human history. The hero's journey. If they pull this off, dude, if Francis pulls this off and he does a boxing match in Africa against Deontay Wilder, dude, this goes beyond like winning in business. It doesn't even make sense. It's like a movie, a guy's life, his actual life is like a movie script that would almost be unbelievable. You're like, there's no way. There's no way. If they pull this off, I will, dude, just the second that fight even got announced where it was signed, I would cry for Francis. If you've ever watched the documentaries, watch Patrick Gavia's documentary that he did about Francis. Watch Mix Molly Wappery's 3-part series that he did about Francis. I was actually that was one of the first videos that he put me on. But yeah, dude, Tom Bolger, thank you very much, dude. I appreciate you. So the report is Francis Ngannou, Deontay Wilder fight in Africa in talks. And here's exactly what he said. He said, this is Francis. We've had some exchanges. We've come to a verbal agreement that we want to fight each other. We want 2 fights, one targeting one of those fights to be in Africa, maybe both of those fights in Africa, which would be massive, which would be great. I think August next year is the 50th anniversary of the Rumble in the Jungle. And I think that would be an opportunity to do something massive in Africa. August of next year, that is a long ways away, dude. That's a long ways away. But nonetheless, bottom line is, so if you guys don't know, let me just say this actually, before I get into all the kind of emotional reaction to that, if he did pull this off, let me say this. Saying August of next year, that indicates to me at least that there is nothing solid here, actually. Like, because I mean, this is a big story because they're coming out and saying this publicly that they're working on this, but verbally agreeing to something, on the phone, in talks. If you tell me, yeah, we're thinking August of next year, what that sounds like to me is we have no plan of how we're going to actually do this, which means maybe not so much. I just saw the August of next year thing because I can tell you right now, if you have a professional team, and like I've been saying in every single video, like it doesn't matter who it is, as long as the team that Francis puts in place on his side is a very seasoned, experienced team in putting together boxing events. He needs that. He absolutely needs that, dude. And man, August of next year. When I posted the video, I didn't even see the date that they were saying until anyway. So that just means nothing solid, but here's the other thing. Don't bet against Francis. Don't do it, dude. He, like every person who's ever bet against him has lost, dude. And every single thing that he's done has seemed to be impossible. He started fighting when he was in his 20s. He had no training at all. He's working in a sand mine in Africa. And he's like, oh, I think I want to go be heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. It's literally like, I don't even think that it's that much like less crazy than me being like, you know what? I think I want to actually go fight in the UFC. How many mixed martial arts fights do you have? I'm like, well, none. Like, well, talk to me about your fight experience. I'm like, oh, well, I, did some kickboxing for, 4 years. I was pretty good back then. And I started doing jujitsu 2 years ago. They're all, and you're how old? I'm like, it doesn't matter. I want to be in the UFC. People are like, There's no scenario where that's going to happen, dude. Like none. You are 1,000 years old and you're not good. 20 something odd years old in Africa in a sand mine with no experience whatsoever. Hey, I want to go be the champion of the world. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. And yet he did. And here's the other thing. I really do believe in, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like fate exactly or destiny, but like when something like this, a story like this for Francis, where he has successfully, tried to get over to Europe 1,000 times. He tried to paddle across the ocean with his fucking hands with these other people on these little dinghy boats, right? He gets arrested 11 fucking times and just gets thrown back to where he started 11 times. And he has to go from the forest to the place. Then he has to try to get across the ocean. He finally gets arrested, ends up in Spain. He ends up living homeless in France. And that's just to get to square one. And he's in his mid-20s. And then for him to actually succeed in all of these different things, it's impossible, dude. And also to be the first UFC champion to successfully get to unrestricted free agency. I mean, all of this is just, the odds are absolutely enormous against him. You couldn't calculate them. They're so long. And the hero's journey, like the actual definition of like the hero's journey, is when the hero comes back to where they started. Like they bring something home with them to where they started. And I know this because MMA fan, thank you very much, dude. I really appreciate you, dude. NKS, thank you very much. Ucheo's going to be dumping on his chicken McNuggets from last night on this ASAP like a latrine pit. He can't not. I know, dude. He hates the Ngannou stuff, man. He hates it. Which is so funny because when I've told this story a million times, but like when the way I started this channel was I was on fan questions. Like Chael put me on fan questions twice. And I started just sending him in a million fucking fan questions like a total lunatic. And then I was just looking at my videos. I'm like, these are fucking good, man. I could just do this. And then I started a TikTok. But the first question that I sent in that Chael put on was, I was like, if you could have any two fighters fight in under any rule set, what would that look like? And I was like, because mine would be Francis Ngannou against Deontay Wilder, boxing in MMA gloves. That was like that was the genesis of my my brand or whatever. But I know the hero's journey because I used to always use that term, and I apparently didn't really understand what it meant. I was like, the hero's journey was like something that I was I don't know. I would describe it kind of like, I would say like Dustin Poirier has like a hero's journey, whatever. But the actual definition of a hero's journey, Mixed Molly Wapari explained it to me, which is like, it's a person who goes on, he starts at home, starts in a place, he goes on some huge voyage. And then when he comes back home and he brings something back to his home, that's the hero's journey. And so like in Mixed Molly's head, said that like he said that like he ended his documentary series where he did because he's like, he already came back to Africa, like the Stipe fights and all that, or like the hero's journey is complete. But now as this progresses, his real battle is against the UFC. And if he gets that fight in Africa, when UFC has been trying to get it in Africa, if Francis beats them to Africa and he gets a boxing match against Deontay Wilder, it would be it was like David and Goliath doesn't even cover it, doesn't even cover it. Be incredible, dude. Sid Dave, thank you very much. I did, dude. I did see it. I hit him up and I was like, because I didn't realize people were so up in arms about it. As a matter of fact, that's how I found this Francis thing, was because of that. Because first of all, I didn't realize how up in arms people were. Like someone sent it to me and I watched it and I laughed. Like I thought it was fucking hilarious. Obviously, I thought it was hilarious. And so I hit him up and I was like, bro, I literally laughed out loud at this. And he was like, he said that all these people were super pissed about it. He's like, I shouldn't have said like wipe them out, But I thought that was the funniest part, dude. I thought the fact that he said wipe him out and then he walked it back, I thought that was the funniest shit, dude. It's fucking hilarious, man. It's because seriously, it's like, come on, dude. You like seriously, like people thought he was actively, he's like, yeah, because Merab won a fight against Jan, Russia should invade Georgia. Like, it's obviously a fucking joke. Anyway, NKS, thank you very much, dude. Best case scenario, Francis has a blood and guts war with Wilder, gets money, respect, returns to UFC, a favorite son. Yeah, or beats Deontay and then fights Tyson Fury. And then, of course, comes back to the UFC and retains his gold if UFC would if they will have him. I mean, if he wins those boxing matches, they're taking him back, dude. The second he selfie send in the tanks, dude, I laughed when I saw that. People get so fucking bent out of shape about stupid shit, dude. Who cares? It's a fucking joke. Like, no one's invading a country due to the outcome of a fucking UFC fight. Like, obviously. He actually does it. And they're like, so you invaded Ukraine over the Donbass region. What drove your decision to invade Georgia? He's like, well, little known fact. I'm a huge MMA YouTube consumer. And there's this guy, a UK guy, who suggested that I invade Georgia to avenge Peter Yan's loss. So that's what I did. Wipe them all out. Dude. I didn't see any. The only thing I saw was the clip of invade and wipe them out that everybody was all bent out of shape about. But that's why I was on Terrence McKinney's Twitter. And Terrence McKinney's Twitter is where this Francis Ngannou and Deontay Wilder story was. So anyway, let's see. I see Keon and Jan's loss. No, I haven't seen anybody's stuff. I'm on spring break. Thank you for the $2 though. I had to take down the stream that I did after the fight though, just because I'm downstairs now. I did it upstairs last night and like the internet is super fucking shoddy up there. So when I watched it back, it was like, so I took it down. But I'll tell you guys now, my opinion of the fight is that Merab is a cardio machine monster. The way that you beat him is someone who's an elite wrestler, or so basically this is how I think it breaks down in the division. I think Aljo beats Merab because I think you shoot on Aljo, he's going to end up on your back. But gas tank, if he gets tired in the later rounds, Merab could potentially win. But I like Aljo in that fight. I think Merab mauls O'Malley exactly. I think the O'Malley fight against Merab would look exactly like the Peter Yan fight did. He just doesn't give you any room to think, and he's so unpredictable. There's no pattern to pick up. There's nothing predictable about. I mean, well, that's not true. It's very predictable what he's going to do, but you don't get to sit back and pick your shots like O'Malley and Yan like to do. Like if you're a guy who likes to take your time, pick your shots, make him pay, that is a bad style against Merab, dude. But I mean, I would be rooting for O'Malley 100%. I'll always root for O'Malley, dude. O'Malley's my fucking guy. Sid Dave, thank you very much. Russians are the most dangerous white folks, maybe. But anyway, so I think he beats O'Malley. I think that Aljamain beats him. I think Cejudo probably beats him because Cejudo's defensive wrestling should be able to, shake him off. I mean, you guys, Peter Yan being able to like get back up is one thing, but Peter Yan, he doesn't like do anything offensively once you're in a grappling exchange. He's just trying to defend and stand back up. And The dude was just all over him. But yeah, I like Merab against O'Malley. I like the Sandhagen fight is really interesting because Sandhagen is so nasty up the middle, dude. Like, because it's not like Merab is doing some like super, I don't know. He doesn't have a bunch of things he's doing. He commits to a strike and then he shoots a single. He did it 44 fucking times. So if you can make him pay when he shoots a single, then that nullifies basically his entire fucking game. I was talking to my jiu-jitsu professor, Victor, about it last night, and he's like, dude, you have to get insanely confident with your guillotine, but also if you're Corey Sandhagen, I mean, he split Frankie Edgar's wig in half with that knee up the middle, Illusion Me, thank you very much. Solomon made Wilder versus Ruiz mandatory next. Heavyweights are busy. He should fight Dillian White or Jarrell Miller at this point. I don't agree with that, and here's why. Thank you for the super chat. The reason I don't agree is because you only get one opportunity to really cash in on like the I'm Francis Ngannou. Like if he goes out there and he does shit, he doesn't have a good performance, then this whole thing's over. And like he's not going to get paid. He's not going to get real paid unless he does it against Deontay or Fury. It has to be Deontay or Fury. And that's probably why he's saying, August. Either that or because he doesn't have a fucking team that's actually putting this stuff together. Wait, Rigo Nation's possible MMA on fire with JOF and Rigo could take over the MMA YouTube stress. Dude, I don't know, man. Rigo had a funny ass fucking thumbnail the other night. Cheeto, I'm very excited to see Cheeto versus Sandhagen. I wonder I'm very curious to see how that goes. And I'm probably going to be there live, but that's all I wanted to talk about. I love you guys. Got to go. Peace.